network, and they still own WCRV. It's the Bot Radio Network, and I did a conservative talk show, a drive time broadcast, and the station reached 5 states. Was really, really cool. But it was a very big loss, as you can imagine, and Chuck became a benevolent father to me. He really did. He walked me through a very difficult time in my life where it was very, very painful, as you can imagine, losing your dad. But he was my best friend. I looked up to him. I really loved him. And I'll never forget his last words to me when he cooked me dinner. I did the dishes, and on my way out, he said, "Son?" I said, "Yes." And he goes, "I love you." You know, here it is. I'm 25 years old. I thought it was pretty hot stuff. I had my red car, sunroof, and all that. And, 25 years old and doing pretty good for myself. And then, having the approval of your father. Now, I didn't always have that. My dad loved me, but, it wasn't always verbalized. And when I heard that, and he died shortly after, I mean, it's things like that you take with you. And I thank God that I was able to spend the time that I did with him because, folks, you never know. And I am glad that I took the position, and it was tough, it was hard, and a lot of things in life can be difficult. But the lessons learned is that there are people out there like Chuck Harder who always just wanted to help people. And he loved going on the air to help people and to understand what was going on in the world and doing it in a way to where it was personable. You felt connected to the radio show, and it wasn't just that you were trying to put on a show. Chuck really loved his audience, really loved his country, and it showed. And I think some of those virtues and values rubbed off on me. And I appreciate so many of you that have started listening to this broadcast, even though that Chuck's not on because of health issues. He's at a nursing home in Gainesville. People often ask, where's Chuck? He's just gotten older and he's retired. And I miss him. I miss him because of his quick mind. He was one of the most intelligent guys I've ever met in my life. He was known as the walking encyclopedia. He knew a little of everything, literally, or a lot of everything. And he literally didn't really have to have notes with him. He didn't really have to have too much with him. Some people were critical of him, because he would do things that were conspiratorial from time to time, or UFOs and little wacky things like that. But Chuck, largely speaking, was miles ahead of competition. I mean, there was none, really, when he was doing what he was doing, long before Glenn Beck's or hundreds of other talk shows that have talk shows now. Chuck was it. And he was one of the most respected on the air next to Rush Limbaugh. And Chuck was on hundreds and hundreds of radio stations. And so, as you can imagine, as a young guy, that was a thrill to be part of something like that, and then to be able to pass the baton to a new generation or to a past generation to listen to For the People from a modern time right now. That's a lot of years. And here we are today in 2017 with For the People. So I guess what I'm asking you today is if you believe in me, if you believe in this broadcast and For the People, listening to it each and every day and looking forward to it, and you've not given a donation but have wanted to, today is your day. You can go to forthepeopleshow.com, and right there on the front page, just scroll down a little bit and it'll say make a one-time donation. And sure, you can do that, right? $1. Can you do that today? If it's just $1, that will make me happy, because I'll know that you heard the broadcast and something resonated with you. And if you can do more and you want to do more, hey, I'm not going to stop you. But we have things that break. I had a unit that I use called an Instant Replay. You can type that in Google. It's made by 360 Systems. And one of the older units, the hard drive crashed. And so we could get a new unit, but we don't have the money. But that's like $2,500, and we bought this used, and it was gently used, but we knew because the first unit that came out for instant replay, and basically what an instant replay is, if you're not in radio, you probably wouldn't know what one is, but it's about 50 hotkeys, and you just press the button and a commercial will play, or a soundbite will play, or something like that, but the show music, and everything's, just very easy, and you can build sound effects and anything, and it just makes, broadcasting much easier, and you can save things in banks. And anyway, we're looking to get that repaired, and we have monthly electric bills and the internet cost and stuff like that. And so we're not making money off the broadcast. That's not the idea of the broadcast, to make money hand over fist. But at the same time, I'd like it to, pay its bills. That would make me happy because, it's a labor of love. I pour in my own money, and thank God I do other things. I do commercials and promos and, voices of a couple TV networks around the country, and TV affiliates and radio stations that I do write, voice, and produce. And I, amongst other things, I teach the art of voice acting when I'm not on the radio doing this radio show. And so that's what fuels, but I would like that to change. And so today I wanted to dedicate some time to talk to you about those specifics and why it is. But the radio stations that you're listening to, they don't pay us. A lot of people think, oh, yeah, it must be on the radio and they must be paying you salary. They don't do it. They don't do it. They carry the show because it's great information, and it's hard-hitting, it's provocative, and it gets you talking. And it brings them numbers. They know you're listening, and you've told them that you like the radio show, and it's built upon that, and they got an audience. And so it's a win-win for them because they have advertisers around our radio show. And the most important thing you can do for the local radio station to thank them specifically is to do business with the sponsors. If you're a commercial locally on this radio station that you're listening to, do business with them. Keep the business local. I believe in that. Anytime I can do local business, and I seek them out. It makes you feel good, and it keeps them in business. And you ever drive by a business and you visited them once or twice, and you said, man, they had a good thing going, but you hadn't visited them for a while? You had gone somewhere else? Well, that's why, because you stopped doing business with them. Keep the local businesses going. Keep them alive, and tell other people about them. And that's it's a good thing, because there's people that need to make money. And I believe in supporting the local businesses. So if you can do that, remind people. I think that's a kind of a good thing too. Spread the word to do so. And if you come up with a business that did it for you, had great service, or a restaurant, or somebody that parts store, computer store that I'm looking at, pass the word along. If you found a good thing, share a good thing. That's what I say. It's a beautiful thing. So it's our anniversary broadcast. If you can do something today, forthepeopleshow.com, and make a one-time donation or become a monthly supporter. You can do both too. I'm not gonna hold your hands back here. By the way, there's this scam alert, and just attention if somebody calls you. But if somebody says to you when they call you, "Can you hear me?" you may want to just hang up immediately. Police in several states are urging people to avoid answering this simple question from a phone number they do not know. Can you hear me now? And authorities in Virginia say that the question is aimed at getting unsuspected victims to say yes, and it's an answer that the bad guys are using to record, because then they can get you your credit card. They can get money, out of different things by using your verbal yes. And CBS News did a little piece on this too, but people don't know that what they're doing is saying yes, and then they just hang up, but they've gotten what they want. Don't say anything, just hang up. So remember, can you hear me? Hang up. It's a big scam, and it's cost a lot of people money. There's always somebody scamming. But that's a consumer alert for you. Just be careful with those numbers. And and sometimes they'll call from your own area code. and they'll ask you that because you'll think it's safe, right? But no, telemarketers, and I know you probably have called that telemarketer number that I've called to take yourself off. You can go on the internet. For some reason, it still doesn't work. Rule of thumb. If they're not in your contacts on your cell phone or contacts on your landline, if you have the ability of one of those phones to do it, let it go to voicemail. Let it go to voicemail. And if they don't leave a voicemail, then they didn't want to talk to you in the first place. Leave a voicemail. Leave something on record. That always helps. You remember the story I gave you about the Philadelphia gravestones in the Jewish community? Well, vandalizing the tombs. Well, this thing has escalated, out of control in states all over the United States, and this is just breaking my heart. There is anti-Semitic, and it's always been in our country and around the world, but it's a fervency right now. I've never seen it like this before, and I don't know what in the world is going on, but the Jewish community centers and day schools in at least a dozen states received threats, according to JCC, the Association for North America. No bombs were found. All 20 buildings, 13 community centers, and 7 schools were closed and cleared out yesterday. But this is all over the country, folks. All over the country. The Justice Department, Homeland Security, the FBI, the White House, alongside Congress and local officials, they need to speak out and speak it out forcefully against this scourge of anti-Semitism impacting communities across the country. And this is bad. I don't know what in the world is going on with folks these days, but a lot of hatred in our world today. And the sicko in Philadelphia, or sickos, is more than one person that has gone into that graveyard and tipped over those graves and ruined them. And for loved ones to go to the cemetery to check, or pray or spend time, talking to their loved ones. It's unimaginable. I don't understand what the deal is. I think people are just cracked. That's all I think. There's a program on television that's got 14, 15 seasons, and it's called Supernatural. And you watch some of these sci-fi shows, if you will, and, you see some of the evil, it's good versus evil, and the angels, the devil, and all this other stuff. And, I do think there's a war going on. And I think it's, in men's hearts, I've said this before, I'm a firm believer. The longer you spend on the planet, you start seeing this stuff and you say, well, this person's just crazy. Or is it inspired by something that they let in? Kind of like a voodoo curse. You wonder, they say, be careful who you touch, be careful who you entertain, be careful who you let in your house. I'm not superstitious, but I do believe that we do bring on some hardships on ourselves. I know people that have this, like black cloud or black omen. And you got to stay away from people like that. They're just scary. But everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Do you know people like that? It would appear like they have a curse on their life or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, pray for that person. Put some holy water on them. Bring them into church or something like that. I don't want to get all religious on you, but there's got to be something to this. More than just somebody that was hit in the head. I fell downstairs when I was a kid. And, I think that I have a rational thought process going on in my head. Nobody said I was crazy. What's normal anyways? But doing things like that, going into cemeteries, calling up Jewish centers and threatening people, that's hatred. And that's just so unnecessary. And man, I hope these people are found. I hope they're brought to the judge and to the prison, to where they belong, locked up for a long, long time, because this is scaring so many people around the country, and it's invoked fear. It really has, and it's unnecessary. And we have so many lovely Jewish folks that listen to the broadcast. Naaman Gesick, he's a contributing force for the people. and his family. We just had Devin on talking about his health and the improvement that, thank God, he had his stint put in, and they're clearing out his arteries with medication and all that. And I have